What's impressed you the most on how he's approached the game?
All the time he takes, showing up early. Coach's office is easily seen when you walk in the building, and almost every morning you see him in there, talking through plays, talking through schemes with coach, and making sure that he's ready for his moment when he gets called up. And I appreciate that level of maturity and attention to detail.
Myles Garrett just dropped a move that's got the whole NFL world whispering and side-eyeing the Browns front office. It's all about Dillon Gabriel being picked over Shedeur Sanders, and the way it went down, quiet but dangerous. No yelling, no chaos, just one slick announcement that felt like a grenade disguised as a press release. Fans are losing it, analysts are tripping over their notes, and suddenly Cleveland's quarterback situation looks like a mystery no one can solve. The second the news hit, the Browns' locker room froze. It wasn't just quiet, it was dead. You could hear a mouthguard drop. Dillon Gabriel, the new face under center, named the starter. Not the veteran, not the prodigy everyone expected. Just the curveball nobody saw coming. Half the team looked around like, wait, are we being pranked? And there, in the back corner, arms crossed tight like he was guarding a secret, stood Myles Garrett. The man didn't say a single word, but his silence had more weight than any victory speech. You could almost feel the frustration buzzing off him like static. It wasn't fury. It was that deep, worn-out look of a man who's seen this movie too many times before, and it never ends well.
You guys really in it for the very
He looked like he usually does, composed, making the plays that we know he can make, and now he put us in position to win. And we gotta help ourselves out.
The younger players tried to play it cool, clapping, nodding, throwing out that same tired, it's all part of the plan line, but the vibe said otherwise. No one believed it. The tension was so thick it felt like it had its own playbook. Garrett started pacing, helmet swinging from one hand, eyes locked on the ground like he was running through every bad Browns decision in history. You could tell he was this close to either launching that helmet through a whiteboard or just putting it on and tackling the next person who said, "Trust the process." Something's brewing inside that locker room. And Garrett's silence?
I'm surprised to see him go to the 5th round, but he's come to camp and OTAs with a great attitude. He's a hardworking guy. He has a good head on his shoulders, and he's always positive, always optimistic, always keeps a smile on his face. And you like going to work with people who have that kind of.
That might have been the loudest warning shot Cleveland's fired all season. Everybody in that locker room felt it. Something about that call just didn't sit right. Shedeur Sanders had been quietly owning practice, slicing through defenses like a surgeon, dropping dimes so clean they made coaches whistle and glance at each other like, "Did you just see that?" He moved with that effortless swagger that gets you respect even from the vets, the kind they'll never admit out loud, but can't help feeling. And now, out of nowhere, he's the one stuck watching from the sidelines while Dillon Gabriel strolls in and gets the keys handed to him like a reward for perfect attendance. Garrett didn't blow up right away. He just hit that little smirk, the one that screams, "Here we go again." Because if there's one thing Myles Garrett knows better than anyone in Cleveland, it's the exact second when logic gets thrown out the window and replaced with good old Browns chaos. The man's seen this film too many times, and spoiler alert, it never ends with a ring. One by one, players started avoiding eye contact like they were dodging a traffic ticket. Even the rookies, who had no idea how deep the mistake ran, could sense it. The air got heavy, thick enough to choke on. Cleveland fog inside 4 walls. Garrett kept pacing like a storm, waiting to break loose.
Just got to convert. You look back, there's obvious times you got to go make it happen. Starts with me. But us coming together collectively to go make that happen. But, you look at a lot of the third downs to extend drives. That's where we can continue to, help ourselves.
What did you learn from your first NFL start? Big change.
I think I learned little details. Definitely was ready for that, but all the details come down to it. And I think in any game you're going to want 4 to 5 plays back. Of course, the result will feel.
Then out of nowhere, he muttered something under his breath, low enough for only a few to catch, but whatever he said spread through that locker room faster than gossip on trade deadline day. Within seconds, the defensive line was whispering. The offense started pretending to stretch, and poor Dillon Gabriel stood there, tying his cleats for the third time, trying to look confident while praying nobody noticed his shaking hands. Everybody knew what that silence meant. When a leader like Garrett reacts like that, something's off, way off. And to be fair, Gabriel ain't the bad guy here, but he just walked into a storm he didn't create. And judging by the tension in that room, it's about to start pouring. The kid's been putting in work. Gabriel's got the mechanics, the accuracy, and that unshakable Disney movie optimism that makes you almost want to root for him. But let's be real, this isn't about his talent, it's about context. Because everyone knows Shedeur Sanders wasn't just holding it down at practice, he was running the show. The dude was electric, a star in the making, and somehow, a coaching decision so questionable it belongs in a blooper reel just flipped the script. Now the locker room split between support your guy and you gotta be kidding me. If it feels familiar, that's because it's basically a Cleveland tradition at this point. Garrett finally dropped into his locker seat, shoulders heavy, looking like a man who just watched a car crash in slow motion. No yelling, no smashed helmets, just silence. And that silence, it hit harder than any speech, the kind that screams without making a sound. A few brave souls tried breaking the tension with jokes. One guy said, "Hey, at least Gabriel's left-handed throws will confuse the defense." Another mumbled something about it being part of a long-term strategy, but Garrett didn't bite, didn't even blink, just gave a slow nod, a dry smirk, that face that says, "Yeah, I've heard that fairy tale before." Then Shedeur walked in.
Honestly, just calm, composure, and level-headedness. Don't want him to get too high, too low. Whether he's making big plays or maybe they have a slow start, regardless, they're going to come to him. We're going to put him in position to win. And he just had to take advantage of that, and I know they will.
The whole room knew it. Something about this decision didn't feel right.
Calm, collected, smooth like he had ice in his veins. No eye rolling, no sighing, none of that fake I'm fine energy. Just that steady walk that said half confidence, half quiet fury. He greeted everyone the same, even Gabriel. Gave him a fist bump and a congrats that felt way too composed for a guy who just got benched. The man's professionalism was almost annoying. It's that kind of calm that makes veterans respect you and fans mistake you for not caring. But that's when Garrett finally cracked. Not with rage, with that brutally sarcastic honesty only a leader can pull off. He looked at Shedeur, then at Gabriel, then at the assistant coach standing nearby, and started laughing. Not a happy laugh. That slow, bitter kind of laugh that says, "Man, this team never learns," the kind that fills the whole locker room with tension so thick you could cut it with a playbook. Something in that laugh said it all. Cleveland just might have lit another fire they're not ready to control. You could feel the whole facility shaking with that energy. The tension was so heavy, even the janitor probably stopped mid-mop just to listen. Within minutes, the whispers started leaking out of the locker room like smoke from a fire. Reporters caught wind, tweets started flying, and just like that, the story flipped from Gabriel named starter to Myles Garrett losing patience with the Browns again. Because of course it did. This is Cleveland, where the drama spreads faster than highlight reels and bad play calls.
Bailey Zappi and Shedeur Sanders on another field, and you're not having your backup kind of take reps with the starter when you're in some of these drills and in some of these team sessions and things like that. I worry you are a little bit too afraid about what guys like us are going to say. Guys, people are going to go nuts. The media is going to go nuts. Who cares? You're supposed to try to win a football game. Who cares? Where are your priorities as a coach? Where are your priorities as an organization?
By the next practice, the cracks were impossible to ignore. Garrett came out locked in, all business, but with a dangerous edge. His tackles hit harder, his moves sharper, like every snap was a message to the coaching staff saying, "This is what leadership looks like." You could practically hear the pads echo his frustration. Meanwhile, Shedeur stayed ice cold, running drills with quiet precision, not even blinking at the chaos brewing around him. That's the kind of calm that makes noise without making sound. But the vibe, it was off. The chemistry started wobbling like a busted play call. The defense had questions they didn't dare ask out loud, and by the time film review rolled around, the tension was choking the room. Garrett sat there, arms crossed, eyes locked on the screen while clips of Gabriel missing open reads played on repeat. No eye roll, no outburst, just that familiar smirk, the one that says everything you don't say out loud. The Cleveland trademark expression that translates to, "We don't really know what we're doing, but hey, please clap." And here's the wild part. Garrett didn't even have to go off. The rest of the locker room did it for him. Players started dropping cryptic social media posts, emojis, vague quotes, and song lyrics that fans instantly turned into theories. It was like a digital protest wrapped in sub-tweets. Then Shedeur added fuel to the fire with one icy post, a simple photo of him at practice captioned, "Work continues." That one line hit harder than a press conference. Within an hour, fan forums melted down, conspiracy threads popped up, and talk shows went into overdrive. Cleveland didn't just have quarterback drama, they had a full-blown soap opera playing out in real time. Suddenly it turned into a full-blown decoding mission. Players, fans, even reporters were breaking down cryptic posts like it was a Marvel trailer packed with Easter eggs.
Watching if he's going to be named the QB2. The media's running crazy. They're running Hulkamania wild picks. There's a lot of upside to that. There's a lot of upside to that. Instead of putting all your eggs in the 2026 quarterback draft, you got a day 3 quarterback here who was projected to go in the first round. Depending on what you thought or not, he was projected to go in the first round. You got him in round 5. You got him on this low contract.
Inside the Browns facility, the tension was practically humming in the walls. Garrett's frustration wasn't about ego, favoritism, or spotlight. It ran deeper than that. It was about watching talent get sidelined for a story that sells better than it performs. Watching real hard work, real grit, get ignored because somebody upstairs wanted their own headline moment. And if there's one thing that'll make a veteran lose his mind, it's watching the front office treat football like a reality show. The defensive squad had seen enough. They started rallying around Garrett, even giving him a nickname, GM Myles. Half joking, but with truth dripping from every word. Because let's be honest, Garrett's football IQ might be sharper than half the execs calling the shots. The whole atmosphere shifted from tense to borderline comedy. Reporters tried to bait Garrett into spilling, tossing him loaded questions just to get a headline. But he didn't bite, not once. Instead, he hit them with that calm, dangerously polite tone that says way more than any rant ever could. You could practically feel the sarcasm hidden behind his grin. Fans noticed it, players noticed it, and social media exploded. Within hours, clips of his reactions were hitting millions of views, people captioning it like, "Garrett's done with this nonsense." Everyone agreed, the man snapped, just not the way they expected. Behind closed doors, the panic button got smashed. Coaches were scrambling to regain control, meetings ran long, and the locker room talk turned sharper by the day. Garrett's presence hung over everything like a storm cloud. Even Gabriel could feel it. The rookie's confidence started to flicker, not because of anything Garrett said, but because everyone in that locker room was giving him that quiet side-eye that says, "We're watching, kid, don't mess this up." And through all the noise, Shedeur stayed locked in. No drama, no sneak posts, no whining, just pure grind. Every rep was crisp, every throw laser sharp. That kind of steady focus started catching eyes again.
Garrett just told the truth about Shedeur Sanders. And what he said has fans shocked. This might be the first time we've heard how the team really feels about Shedeur. The only person that matters that I want to hear from on the Browns. He the only one. And he telling you he mature, he in there early, in the coach office, going over plays. I don't want to hear nothing about the media because they ain't in there. Myles Garrett is in there, and he just said it out of his own.
You could feel the whispers creeping back in, that slow burn of realization, the kind that builds right before the whole story flips on its head. You could see it written all over the players' faces. That shift, that spark, they were starting to believe Shedeur was the real deal. One afternoon during practice, he dropped an absolute dime downfield. A perfect spiral that sliced through the air and landed like poetry in motion. The whole sideline exploded. Helmets flying, guys yelling, even Myles Garrett cracked a rare grin. It wasn't just pride, it was that look that said, finally, somebody gets it. It was the kind of play that shuts everyone up for a second, then reignites the whole fire. The jokes started flying too.
Shedeur out there doing him. He see that. And I don't understand why the coaching staff trying to hold him back. If the Cleveland Browns really want to win, Shedeur Sanders is the answer. It's just plain and simple as that. It's up to Kevin Stefanski to make that call, or the general manager or the owner to tell Kevin Stefanski, hey, it's time for Shedeur. But Shedeur just continue to just need to work, put that work in, stay in that playbook, and go out there and ball out. Let's pause.
Suddenly, everyone's
Next week on The Bachelor, who wins the rose, or in this case, the starting role? But no amount of humor could cover the truth simmering beneath the laughs. Garrett was still tense, still reading between every line the coaches threw out. He's been in this league long enough to know when politics gets dressed up as strategy. And this had that written all over it. The longer the charade went on, the clearer it became. This wasn't about who earned it, it was about who made certain people upstairs feel comfortable. By midweek, Shedeur's dominance in practice was undeniable. The precision, the reads, the leadership, all of it screamed starter material. Even the coaches started running out of creative excuses to defend their decision. Meanwhile, Gabriel kept grinding, credit where it's due, but the pressure was eating at him. Every off-target throw became a headline. Every clean Shedeur rep turned into a viral clip. And Garrett, he didn't have to speak anymore. His reactions told the story. There was one moment during scrimmage that said it all. Garrett sacked Gabriel, not once, but twice in a row, then reached down, helped him up, and gave him that slow, deliberate smile. The kind of grin that could melt steel and send a message at the same time. The defense roared with laughter, the energy electric, but underneath all that joking and noise, everyone knew what it really meant. That wasn't just competition, that was a warning, a signal that the team had already made up its mind, even if the coaches hadn't caught up yet. That moment wasn't just a sack, it was a statement, and everyone in that facility knew it. The next few days turned into straight-up chaos. Whispers in hallways, coaches holding closed-door meetings, players side-eyeing each other like something big was brewing.
Hey, no Rex Ryan, no Joe Blow, no Tony G, no Tony Rizzo. Y'all are not in that meeting room. Y'all are not in that facility every day, walking with Shedeur to meeting room, meeting with the coaches, going through the install, then translating to the field. Ain't none of them in there. The main leader, French.
Then came the night that sealed everything. A private players-only gathering after practice. No cameras, no reporters, just teammates letting it all out. Garrett finally broke his silence. He didn't yell or point fingers. He spoke like a man tired of watching potential get wasted. He said what everyone had been thinking, but was too scared to say. This isn't about ego or drama. It's about standards, about accountability, about not letting politics bury talent just because it doesn't fit someone's safe narrative. When he finished, the room went still. That heavy kind of silence that doesn't need words because everyone already agrees, but no one knows what comes next. The next morning, practice hit different. The vibe was razor sharp. Gabriel still took the first reps, but Shedeur's squad moved like a machine possessed. Every throw looked crisper, every route tighter, every celebration louder. From the defensive side, Garrett started cheering them on, loudly, almost like he wanted the coaches to hear every clap and whistle. Every completed pass got applause. Every touchdown throw got a full-blown, let's go. The coaches looked tight-lipped and annoyed, but the players, they looked alive.
Shedeur said something. Rex Ryan had an issue with what he said. Shedeur mimed. I didn't necessarily like the miming. I thought it was immature, but obviously people had an issue with the miming. So I love that Shedeur's like, hey, no negativity around these parts. No negativity around the way. Honestly, for the first time, it sounded like Shedeur was using quarterback speak. Whether you love him using quarterback speak or hate him using quarterback speak, it seems like quarterback speak is what's going to keep him out of the trouble of the NFL executives. So while they point up their drinks, I'm going to say I actually liked it. No negativity around Shedeur. 2-5, I ain't heard your comment.
By that afternoon, the story had already escaped the building. Leaks everywhere. Anonymous sources, insider tweets flying like wildfire. Headlines popped up one after another. Locker room divided. Veterans losing patience. Myles Garrett frustrated with QB decision. The Browns weren't just in the news, they were the news. Cleveland's PR team tried to throw a blanket over the flames, but once fans smelled dysfunction, there's no stopping it. Then came the viral moment. Garrett turned toward the stands after a scrimmage, clapped once, slow and deliberate, just one clap. But it echoed everywhere. The image hit social media within minutes. Myles Garrett slow clapping the Browns, and it exploded. Fans dubbed it,
that Shedeur Sanders is doing good in practice. He just waiting on his opportunity. And I'm telling you, when Shedeur get his opportunity, he gonna go out there and shine. One thing you can't say about players, they know they players. They know they teammates. They looking at them. They watch them. They in the locker room with them. They on the field with them. They watching Shedeur. They see Shedeur putting that work in. Matter of fact, Myles Garrett is on the defensive side. Shedeur is on the scout team as a quarterback.
The most polite rebellion in Browns history. Analysts couldn't stop replaying it. One single clap that said more than any press conference ever could. By this point, the coaching staff couldn't pretend anymore. The storm had blown the doors clean off. Meetings got called, reps got shuffled, playbooks rewritten overnight, but it was too late. The damage was already done. The locker room had picked its side, and there was no going back. Garrett had made his point, loud and clear, without ever raising his voice. And Shedeur Sanders, he'd gone from being the backup on the sidelines to becoming a symbol, the player everyone wanted to see finally get his shot. The next few days felt calm, but it was that eerie calm, the kind that comes right after lightning hits. The storm might have passed, but the air still buzzed with electricity. Everyone could feel it. Something big was about to shift, even if nobody dared to say it out loud. Garrett's message had landed exactly where it needed to. Play the best guy, not the safest one. And sure enough,
the Browns are currently paying 8 quarterbacks this season. I'm not surprised by this at all because the Cleveland Browns are a bad franchise. The Browns do not know what they are doing. And it's been this way for many, many years. Ryan Clark said that Shedeur Sanders is not the backup quarterback. It's time to part ways and it's time to trade him. And I 100% agree because if Bailey Zappi is QB2 behind Dillon Brooks, that's a problem. Because you're not looking for Bailey Zappi to be the franchise quarterback for the Browns. That's why you drafted Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders to figure out which one of these quarterbacks were going to take your team.
When the next scrimmage rolled around, things started changing, quietly. No flashy announcement, no press release, no coach speech about competition, just silent adjustments. Shedeur's reps went up, his snaps got longer, his confidence grew louder without him ever saying a word. Garrett noticed. He didn't grin this time, just gave that slow nod like a man finally seeing the ship start to turn in the right direction. Maybe, just maybe, Cleveland was finally listening. Because one thing's for sure, you don't underestimate a quarterback like Shedeur Sanders and get away with it for long. Eventually, he's going to make you pay for it. On the field, under the lights, in front of the whole league. So yeah, Myles Garrett snapped, not with rage, but with quiet power. The kind that shakes a franchise to its core. The Browns thought they were just naming a starter, but what they really did was light a fuse. And once that fuse burns down, the entire NFL might realize Cleveland's biggest problem has never been talent. It's the decisions they keep making about it. Now, if you made it this far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It helps the channel a ton. And trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next. See you on the next one.